interesting decision. Practically speaking, they will not be allowed to randomly stop people and do what they do. However, in a real life context, the judge does say that there are certain rules that will continue to apply, such as the rules of common law or specific legislative rules. The problem there that I see is that under the Highway Safety Code, the police have the right to stop you to do a verification that you have your spare tire, verification of certain elements of the car. And if they're, how shall I properly word this? If they're crafty enough, they can pull you over for under the pretext of a verification. So in a real world context, I'm just wondering how much of a difference this is really going to make. I mean, I think the intention is there. I think the judgment is great. But practically speaking, they may have other ways around it, is my concern. The problem is this the solution? I mean, I would like to think that it is. But practically speaking, I think that, realistically speaking, I think that there is, there are still many other workarounds that could make it that the police officer will justify his reason for pulling you over.
So that's lawyer Avi Levy from Ticket 411 was on with Andrew this morning, talking about what he thinks will come as a result of this Quebec Superior Court judge yesterday ruling that no longer will police be allowed to randomly pull you over. In other words, if they don't have a reason, no, they're not going to be able to do it. Now, again, it's worth pointing out this does not go into effect yet. There's a 6-month window here where the likelihood is, I think overwhelmingly, that the government will appeal. But, for people who found themselves in a situation like this, like the 22-year-old black man who brought this to court, is it a win? Is it not a win? Do you actually think things will change? Well, Joël DEBELLEFEUILLE, founder and chairman of the Red Coalition, that is a group that fights racism and discrimination here. Joël, we've spoken before. You have been in a situation like this other young man on a variety of occasions, and I wonder just right off the top what your reaction was to the ruling yesterday.
Hi, Aaron. Hi, Natasha.
Hi.
An incredible decision. I'm completely for it. It was well overdue. Congratulations to Mr. Luamba having to endure what he had to endure, over the years of fighting such an incredible fight. It's not easy going up, of course, against a government. Kudos to him and to everybody that, legal team that associated themselves with it. But definitely in the right direction, Aaron, something that, is definitely needed. There's something that needs to, put that kind of, space between officers intercepting randomly for no reason. So I think this is a fantastic decision. As you said, yes, most likely the government will appeal it. However, it is, even as large of a win as it is, it's still something to be proud of.
The judge, I couldn't agree with you more. And the judge himself said that, this isn't going to immediately fix everything. It's not going to put an end to racial profiling overnight. He said ethics and justice must go hand in hand to turn this page. And that statement gave me pause for thought. Is that possible? You can't really make a law or a ruling that make ethics and justice go hand in hand, can you?
That's a tough question. I mean, look, we've been talking for about 15 years. To be quite honest, not much has changed since then. We're still talking about the same thing. I think drastic measures need to be taken. So this decision is groundbreaking. It's historic. It's probably put the entire government and law enforcement on the edge of their seat to see what's going to happen with this. But I think that's the type of things that need to happen in order for this to change. I mean, people are really affected by being racially profiled. Mm-hmm. I mean, not only financially, mentally, there's problems at home. I mean, this is a real thing, and it's really troubling. But in a 170-page decision, this judge gave careful thought to it. And, I was actually a witness in June in this particular case. So there's my previous case laws in the decision as well, confirming that racial profiling exists. So I think we need to, the government needs to take it on the chin, learn from this, and move forward where this is not happening, every week.
So I want to ask you, because as I said, we've spoken before, you've been a victim of this driving while black situation. So if you think back, I don't know how many times this has happened to you, Joelle, if you can even remember, because obviously it's a few.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does it typically play out? Because I would think after the first time when you kind of bring this up and police must sit back and go, okay, well, maybe we're a little overzealous here. But it keeps happening. It kept happening to you. How did it typically play out?
Well, it's really a curiosity, in my opinion. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. If you see a nice car, you see a Lamborghini, and not that I drive a Lamborghini, but if anybody sees a Lamborghini drive by, regardless if you're law enforcement or not, your head's going to turn, okay? Because it's a nice car. You don't see that all the time. Then you're going to look at who the driver is. And if it's a black person driving a Lamborghini, let's be honest here, a slew of stereotypes will start, going through people's heads. And the same thing will happen to police. So, bring the value of the car down to Mercedes or BMW or Lexus or whatever. The police don't see it every day, and they think it as different. So when you see something different, you're curious. And when you're curious, you go and you try and touch the fire, and then you get burned. And that's what's happening. And so there's a breakdown from when there's the time of the interception, when the officer gets out of the vehicle and then walks to the side of the vehicle. So that 30-second walk is where we need to figure out where everything breaks down. Because if they're just doing a random verification because they saw a black guy driving a BMW, that's not a valid enough reason. Now it's not, and before it wasn't a valid enough reason to approach and intercept the vehicle. And then, of course, the driver is going to get upset because his hands are on 10 and 2, he's doing the speed limit, and he did absolutely nothing wrong. And that's where the situation starts to deteriorate between the officer and the driver. So if we could figure out that 30 seconds on how to separate that, I think there'll be fewer cases of racial profiling.
Now, when I asked you in your own case, and I'm curious when you describe those 30 seconds because it's happened to you so often, what is that police officer? Is there sort of a standard pattern? Is there a typical, you roll your window down and what that officer says to you, or is it different every time?
They ask me if it's my car. That's the first thing. It's my car, and show me your papers.
Oh boy!
And it's not, and I'm being brutally honest here. It's not good afternoon or good morning, sir. How are you? Do you know why I pulled you over? It's, hey guy, is this your car? Show me your papers. And so of course, I like to be respect. I show respect. I give respect. So that puts me put me on edge. And then, of course, I look like the aggressor because I'm questioning, why are you speaking to me like this? You're a professional. You're an officer of the law, and you deal with the public. You should be able to deal with them in a proper way. Mm-hmm. And then they see that as arrogance, right. That I'm, contesting the reason why they're pulling me over. And 10 or 12 minutes later, my ID is still not out of my pocket. And then they're calling their backup because they think that something else is going to go on.
Oh, boy.
So this, I can tell you, happens to every single black driver or person of color when they know that they've done something wrong. This is the sensation. This is what happens every single time. Everybody knows white, black, pink, yellow. When a police car is either behind you or beside you, you're doing absolutely everything correct. Okay? So when they pull you over, you know you haven't done anything wrong. So when they say, oh, well, you've got a broken taillight or you went through the stop sign, you know that that is not the truth, and that at that moment going forward, you're being racially profiled. So there's two ways of answering that. It's submitting, handing you your ID, belittling yourself, pride, or standing tall and saying, look, I didn't do anything wrong. Please provide me a valid enough reason for asking me for my ID. I watched you do a U-turn when I drove by you. Why did you do that? You understand? If we're perpendicular, opposite from each other, there's no way you could see a broken taillight in the back.
And where does that typically lead?
Sorry?
Where does that typically lead when you ask that or say that?
Well, they step back because they're most of the time they expect the driver to be submissive and hand in their ID. But it's past that. Well, for me, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it's like, no, I know when I do something wrong. I mean, I've been pulled over before where I had no problem giving my ID. My tints on my car, one of my cars were too dark, and the officer came up. He said, do you know why I'm pulling you over? And I said, no. And he said, well, your tints are too dark. And I said, really? I think they're factory. Then he pulled out this little gadget, and he told me, no, it's supposed to be between this and this. And I had no problem. But for the, hey, guy, is this your car? And random verification, that's where I have a huge problem.
Okay.
So I think this ruling will help diminish these types of things.
So how, this should not be happening, and this is not going to be a quick fix, but does this ruling give you peace of mind? Does it give you confidence that going forward that this won't happen to you, that you won't be pulled over for no reason?
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't been pulled over since 2015, which is the longest spread of time.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because, all the media coverage, or because I founded the Red Coalition, or what. Maybe my license plate says something to them. I have no idea. Okay. But it's been, 7-8 years I haven't been pulled over by the police.
Any progress is welcome.
Yeah. I hope it's progress, and definitely this ruling, it's a victory for everybody that's been racially profiled. They should, regardless if the government appeals, I think everybody should be proud for whoever filed complaints either with the Quebec Human Rights Commission, either through, us, the Red Coalition, or any other organization. They should be proud because they helped contribute just to part of this to this ruling.
Yeah, good for you, and good for everybody else who stood up and said this is simply not right. Joelle, thanks so much. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Natasha.
Take care. Joelle DEBELLEFEUILLE, the Red Coalition is his organization, and we shall see what comes of this. As I said, we've been led to believe that there will be an appeal. That's kind of a gimme here.
It's still encouraging because there will be second thoughts about just doing it randomly.